Hello, my name is Erick Otchere, and I'm discussing how to run a Susu, how to be a banker or administer a Susu. Um, Usually, there's going to be one individual, or I guess you can say one entity if there's a company involved. But this isn't a group effort, so to speak. Um, so I just want to basically put out some basic principles that uh, anybody can kind of go by as a guidepost to how to effectively run a susu, and then I guess we can discuss some of them in brief. Um, so first, you want to pick an amount, and I would go in conjunction with this with date. I wouldn't separate these two. You need to have an amount and a date kind of at the same time. Then you want to set some rules. Rules are important. You want to make sure that everybody's kind of on the same, you know, same vibe here. You don't want anybody not understanding how things are run. You want to have it written down. You want to write some rules out. Then you want to uh, be consistent. Have some consistency. Don't stray away from the rules. Make sure you stick to your guideposts and records. You want to keep records. You want to make sure everybody is pretty much on the transparency tip, making sure everybody knows what's going on. So, amount and date, like I said, they need to go together. They need to. You need to have these two together at the same time. Whichever comes first, the next one needs to come right after it. A date, you want to pick a date that most people will be accessible. I think Friday is probably the best day for people because they're gonna want either to get all of their payout stuff, their lump sum. They're gonna want to get that on a day where they feel the most use can come of it. Saturday and Sunday, this is stuff that you got to decide with either by yourself or with the group or whatever the case. But bottom line is you need to pick a date, and it needs to be a date that's going to be reoccurring. So if it's going to be Friday, every Friday. It's going to be the first of the month, every first of the month. It can't vary. It shouldn't vary. I guess if you want it to vary, you can come up with a reason why it should, but I don't think it should vary. And an amount. Whatever amount you guys choose, whatever amount you choose, however you want to do that. But particularly, I think you should start small. I think everybody should, have a reasonable, accessible amount, an amount that everybody can kind of adhere to, knowing that they can achieve that. You don't want to be in a situation where everybody's kind of lost on being able to contribute because the amount may be too high, or some people may think it's too low. I think the best way to solve that is to vote on a number, and everybody kind of pick an average of that number, and that number will stick. And it can change, but it shouldn't change within the particular time of the susu. Once the susu ends, you want to change it, hey, go ahead. Rules. Now, you know how to run a susu, the basic susu. We talked about that. Basically, every week or a month, whenever you describe, everybody puts in the amount of money, and everybody gets an opportunity to get the lump sum back on whatever particular date they are in the cycle. So that is the basic susu, but that's not necessarily rules to a susu. Rules would be, hey, if you're late on this day, you take a penalty out of your payout. If you're going to be withholding amounts as a group, that's a rule. You want to make sure that's stated. You want to write these rules down so everybody has an opportunity to read them and understand them. You want to keep a good copy so that whenever you want to make some changes or amendments, you have the history of it. And stick to some basic rules that conform to the idea of the susu. You don't want to get too out of whack and it turns into something that's not a susu. But rules are important to a susu because the susus change, they grow. People have different opinions. If you want people to continue to operate in the susu, they're gonna want to be able to, I guess you could say, make it accommodate them too. So whatever accommodations you make, you need to set it inside of a margin, and that should be a rule. It shouldn't be, hey, well, we can kind of do it this way. No, either you're doing this way or you're not. I mean, you're dealing with people's money and resources, so there needs to be a clear understanding of how the thing is going to operate. So I can't stress making rules. And maybe one day we can get into rules a little deeper, but I think that's a whole nother topic. Consistent. Obviously, you need to be on point with this. You can't be lax. If you pick a day, be ready to collect people's money on that day. Be ready to collect people's stuff on that day. Be ready to send people their payout on that day. With the rules, make sure you stick to the rules. There's no leniency with, hey, you're either going to be on this time or you're either on time or you're late. If you have penalties set in the rules, you need to enforce those penalties. If those penalties aren't enforceable, you need to make them enforceable in the rules. But again, you have to be consistent. There can't be opportunities to believe that you're going to deviate from the actual set way the thing works, because if you don't have consistency, technically you don't have a Susu, because Susus are built on consistent exchange of money and resources between the group. So consistency is very important. Records. Make sure you track everything that happens every week or month of a transaction. Make sure everybody knows how much money they're owed versus how much money they owe. Make sure there's a record of how much money has been withheld if you have withholds. Even if people are getting penalized, make sure there's a record of how much they were penalized, how much they lost to being late on their payment. Keep a record of every bit of transactions and be very accurate. Be accurate. That has a lot to do with the integrity of the Susu. So obviously the administrator has to be very, very trustworthy, and there has to be confidence in this person. So keeping records is a way of doing that. Keeping records is a way of keeping things transparent so everybody sees what's going on. And keeping records keeps all of this other stuff actually in line. It actually allows for the amount and the date to be established better. The rules are established better, and you can be more consistent if you know exactly what you've done and what you should be doing, and you can keep a trajectory where the group will be going if you have records. So I think these are basic principles to how to administer a Susu, run a Susu. I think if you stick by these, you can have a really healthy Susu, and people will benefit a lot. Again, my name is Erick Otchere. If you want to discuss more, I'll see you in the comments, and thanks for watching.